Earthquakes and tsunamis have been in the news lately, so let's do a little bit of debunking, and let's do it in a fun way with disaster movies. So one of my favorite actors is The Rock. So let's do San Andreas. Have you ever seen it? If not, here's a clip.
People need to know that the shaking is not over. We'll get hit again, and it's going to be a bigger monster.
I've been for a walk.
Oh my God.
The Earth will literally crack open, and you will feel it on the East Coast.
I love you, Dad.
I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to get out, and I mean now. If you can't, God be with you.
All right, hold on. We gotta get over it before it crests.
There's a lot to break down. What are we looking at? Let's examine some of the things about this movie. So we will get hit again, and it will be a bigger monster. This isn't true. No one can predict earthquakes. So what we often see is that we will have a big earthquake called a main shock, and that's followed by lots of little earthquakes called aftershocks. And those happen along the area of the fault that broke and on adjacent nearby faults as the crust, as the rocks are returning to the new state of stress that they're in, because as the earthquake happens, it changes the stress and strain on the rocks around it. Occasionally, about 5% of the time, one of the aftershocks will be bigger than the main shock, okay? And in that case, we just changed the nomenclature. That first earthquake that happened became a foreshock, and then the biggest earthquake in the sequence is the main shock, and all of the earthquakes that happen afterwards that are smaller are called the aftershocks. No one can predict earthquakes, including that guy. The earth will literally crack open. Is this true? It is not true. But I can understand why people think that, because after earthquakes, small cracks and fissures may form, but they're relatively small, and they usually happen because of settling of the ground due to shaking, and sometimes because of earthquake-induced landslides causing cracking of the ground. What would an earthquake on the San Andreas actually look like? You're looking at it. These are pictures from the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco that happened on the San Andreas Fault. And you can see that there are small cracks and fissures, but certainly the earth is not cracking open. You will feel it on the East Coast. No, you will not feel it on the East Coast. So this is a map showing different places where people felt earthquake shaking from a magnitude 7.1 earthquake that happened in California in 2019. And if you look carefully, you can see that some people over there in Salt Lake City actually did feel shaking from this earthquake. And just in case you don't know, Salt Lake City is not on the East Coast. But something that is interesting about the East Coast is that earthquakes on the East Coast and in the Midwest are felt over about a 10 times broader area than similarly sized earthquakes on the West Coast. And this is due to the properties of the rocks. The seismic waves travel really well on the rocks on the East Coast. The rocks on the West Coast are really broken up, and so they don't transmit the seismic waves as well. So you are more likely to feel shaking from an earthquake on the East Coast over a wider distance than on the West Coast, but in no case would there be an earthquake where you would feel it on both coasts. Let's keep going. We have to get over the tsunami before it crests. Is this true? Is this something we need to worry about? The Golden Gate Bridge getting wiped out by a tsunami? Fortunately not. So tsunamis are not breaking waves. You can't surf a tsunami because it's not a breaking wave. It's more like a tide that comes in really quickly and then keeps coming and coming. The shape of the shoreline, the slope of the ocean or the bay that the water's coming into can all change what the tsunami looks like and how it interacts with the land, but it is definitely not that giant breaking wave that's going to come over top of the Golden Gate Bridge or skyscrapers or something like that. This is what a tsunami can actually look like. So this is a tsunami that happened in the Santa Cruz Harbor in 2011. So this is a wave that crossed the ocean from the Tohoku-oki earthquake in Japan. So that was a magnitude 9.2. And this did quite a lot of damage in the Santa Cruz Harbor. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Is this true? This is absolutely true. We cannot stop earthquakes. That's just the earth doing earth things. Earthquakes are inevitable, but their impacts are not inevitable. And that's important to remember. The actions that we take now will significantly impact the outcome in the future. Quick, get under a table. Is this something you should do? Absolutely. In the United States, you are most likely to be injured during an earthquake by things that are falling on you. So if you're inside, make sure you get under a table. If you're outside, stay outside. So if you feel earthquake shaking, or if you get an earthquake alert, drop down to the ground, take cover underneath a sturdy object like a table, and hold on until all the shaking has stopped. Don't be scared. Be prepared.